everybody. Welcome to this next episode of Best and Worst. This is the show where we take a talent and we share what we think are their best and worst movies that we've gotten a chance to see. It's a lot of fun. We love doing it. And we hope if you like this episode that you'll check out the longer episode of Hidden Gems podcast that we do every week where we talk about streaming services and the hidden gems that you can find on those services. This week we're doing HBO Max. A lot of fun. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner. Ryan is here.
Hey, Rachel, it is great to be back with you once again doing Best and Worst. And for Best and Worst, we're going to be setting our sights on Reese Witherspoon. And this is an actress who has been in quite a bit of good stuff. I mean, Legally Blonde. I don't want to spoil my pick, but it's a music biopic. You'll know when you hear it. And it's just she's been around for a lot longer than I think people imagined her being around because I think like she must have emerged in like the early 2000s, but then I think she had roles in like the late 90s, I think. Am I wrong?
Well, she was a child star, so she had roles like in The Walkabout and other things like that when she was just a little girl. So yeah, she's been around for a long, long time, and she has done a great mix of films with everything from like something like The Wild, which is more of a drama, to more the comedies like Legally Blonde or Just Like Heaven or Sweet Home Alabama. I love those films. She's also done a lot of television recently. She did The Morning Show, which got a lot of acclaim. Little Fires Everywhere, Big Little Lies, which I really loved the first season. Second season, not as much. But yeah, I mean, she's even done some voice work. She's in Thing movie playing Rosie, which was a fun character. She was in Election. She's done some subversive comedies. She's done just about everything. I love The Good Lie. I think that one's very underrated. I considered that. I really like that movie because I worked with the Last Boys of Sudan when I was in college, and so that's what that movie's about. So I think that one's a good one. There's just a lot of really good ones on her resume, and I think the trick is she does have a fair amount of bad ones too, but I think the thing is when you're making comedies, it's just so hard to make comedies that like a certain percentage of them are gonna fall flat.
Yeah, it's hard to make like any kind of comedy, like slapstick, stand up. Like it's like nine jokes are gonna fail, but if you get that one, it's
Hmm.
like it really doesn't matter. I On a bit of an unrelated note, I like listening to like guys like Joe Rogan or Bill Burr who are like comedians in real life and
Hmm.
talk about how it's so much work to get just 1 hour of a set like just together. So
Yeah.
when people are like, "Oh, that comedy was bad," I'm like, "Yeah, it may have been bad, but I'm sure there was a lot of effort put forth into there. Why am I thinking of all the bad Adam Sandler movies?" But that's
Yeah,
neither
that's right.
here nor there.
So what is your best of Reese Witherspoon?
So my best is not a comedy, it's a drama. It's called Walk the Line. This is the movie about Johnny Cash. I am a big Johnny Cash fan. He's one of my favorite musicians. I love his early stuff. I love his kind of drug related stuff. I love his songs trying to bring attention to all the American Indian stuff, and I love his last like bit of work, the American recordings, which are his very best work. And this movie was directed by James Mangold, who would go on to direct Logan, Ford v Ferrari, and the upcoming Indiana Jones 5, which hope it's good, but shouldn't be happening. But again, neither here nor there. Reese Witherspoon plays June Carter Cash, who would, of course, become, well, Johnny Cash's wife. But she being Reese Witherspoon is excellent in this movie. Seeing their relationship like start in earnest and then just all the crap that they go through together only to come out stronger on the other side is just brilliant. I mean, Joaquin should have won an Oscar for that role because Joaquin is just a comedian. He's just a chameleon. He can go from role to role and just be unrecognizable. He got all the ticks and the motions of Johnny Cash down perfectly, and that goes double for Reese Witherspoon, who won her Oscar for this, and very deservedly so. She has she has a great voice. She nailed June Carter's voice perfectly, but she has some pretty heart-wrenching moments. Like after a bender, there's a scene where after Johnny Cash and Carl Perks and all the others had this big drinking thing, and they're about to do a matinee, and they're just all drinking and lazy. And June's like, "We're going on in like an hour," and they're like, "Oh, we go." And she starts tossing the bottles at these dudes. They're like, "Hey, what the?" And then Jude just straight up tells Johnny, "You can't walk no line," and she just walks out. And it's like, wow, if if she wins an Oscar, that'll be the scene they play when they announce the nominees. I could
Mhm.
talk about this movie for hours. Out of all the music biopics that have been released in like the past decade or so, I think this is the best one.
Yeah, I love this movie too. I love the fact that they just focused on like a small part of his life instead of trying to tell his whole life. I think that helped a lot. And I just there's so many parts that I love. Well, I love when he goes on the June Carter love walk. That's one of my favorite parts.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I just think they have great chemistry, and I just feel the I don't know, I just really like the story of Johnny Cash and June Carter, and I like the performances, and there's some really fun moments, and I like how the whole family came to support Johnny to be able to recover through his
Oh
recovery.
yeah.
The whole Carter
Because
family.
because when I first saw this movie, I believe 98, 99, 2001, 2, 3. I was 8 years old when I first saw this, and I honestly had no clue what I was watching at first. It was like, why is this man acting this way? I had no concept of like drug abuse or like
Yeah.
addiction or stuff like that. It wasn't until later when I watched it again where I was like, now I understand. And the whole Carter family should have just been given gold medals for their just ability to.
He
I love
saved his
how
life.
June. I love how June's father, when he sees Johnny's like pusher, be like, "Get out of here with the shotgun." I'm like, wow, you should have come a lot sooner, my man.
Yeah, they saved his
I
life. That
love.
movie, it's a great choice. So my choice for the best of Reese Witherspoon is actually its 20th birthday this year, is Legally Blonde, and it is one of her most famous roles. And they're actually even coming out with a third movie this I think next year. They're filming this year. And I love Elle Woods as a character. She's somebody who could come across as very pampered and kind of like shared, clueless. But I think in both cases, there's a heart to the characters, there's a likability to the characters. And I think a lot of it comes through the performances, in this case from Reese Witherspoon. The script is so funny. And the way I don't know, just little things that have become almost iconic, like using legal jargon in everyday life, and her resume that she sends in, her video essay is hilarious. And uh, I don't know, it's just really funny, and it gets a long way, and goes some really ridiculous stuff you ignore because it's so funny. It has Luke Wilson in it. It's got Jennifer Coolidge in it. It's got a great cast, and it's one of my favorites. It's very quotable, very funny.
I've never seen the movie. However,
Oh my gosh.
I have seen the musical, so I am familiar with this story, and I actually did enjoy that quite a bit. But I do need to get on the ball and seeing the original, especially since there's a third one coming. That's like
Yeah.
asking me to do it.
And the musical is really good too. It's really fun. I love the musical. So with you there. So it's
Oh my God, you guys.
very catchy songs. So much better. So what is your worst of Reese Witherspoon?
So my worst, and I think in a bit of a trend with my worst, I choose these actors not because they're necessarily bad in it. It's just that they just so happen to be in a very bad movie. And my choice for hers is 2018's A Wrinkle in Time. This was a such a hard movie to sit through. I feel like its heart was in the right place. And as far as like A Wrinkle in Time goes, it's a great book, don't get me wrong, but there's some stuff in there, like there's a lot of Bible stuff that is probably going to be hard to film, and I do understand that. But don't turn Reese Witherspoon into like the jolly green lady giant. Just don't do that. And just
Yeah.
you have 100 foot tall Oprah. You know, she doesn't really help her case when people call her an egomaniac when she's like this big and she is like the all-seeing one of this whole group. And then you have Mindy Kaling, God bless her soul, quoting Rush Hour and Chris Tucker. I love Chris Tucker, but for a movie like this, like quote like Shakespeare or someone, important, not like do the damn son Tucker, American. I'm like, duh.
Yeah, I love the
This
book. I love A Wrinkle in Time, but you're absolutely right. They neutered this book and took out all of the spirituality, and it felt like a glossy yoga retreat video to me. It didn't feel like an actual movie with like a story, and it was so confusing. If I hadn't read the book, I wouldn't have understood what the heck was going on. And it just made it a lot of they kept telling Meg that she was special and that she was valued, but they never explained why, and so it just feels hollow. Where in the book, they don't need to. In the book, nobody tells Meg that she's special. She discovers that for herself because she's the one who goes and saves her brother, and she's the one that uh, develops that strength for herself. She doesn't have to be told it by anybody. And I don't know. It's just it. It's so frustrating because I blame Ava DuVernay because she had all of the pieces. She had a great cast. She had a beautiful visual effects, beautiful budget. She could have made it great. I don't understand what her thought was on so many of the choices, and just to make it so bland as opposed to the heart and core of the book. That I mean, people say the book is unfilmable. Maybe it is. I don't know. Both the versions that they've done, one for television and this one, have been terrible. So maybe it is. But I agree, it was not a good film. Oh,
I
it's
will
unfortunate.
disagree slightly. I actually seen the TV movie, and I mean, maybe it's because going to a Catholic school, I did a book report on this, so maybe I have good memories to it with my best friend watching pizza or eating pizza and watching this. So maybe I have rose-tinted glasses, but I do enjoy that. It like especially getting into the. Oh God, I can't remember the other place, the other side, not the
Yeah,
other side.
with it, and
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
that's the one. That was actually quite intimidating, where they have everything in tune with each other, and
Mm.
not like the Norman Rockwell painting that they made this time around.
Yeah, in this one, it's just confusing. It's like, what is this place? What's going on? The it it's in the
Why is
little
Oprah 100 feet tall?
yeah, it doesn't work. I agree with you. But my least favorite, I would rather watch A Wrinkle in Time than her film in 2015 called Hot Pursuit.
Oh boy.
This is a terrible comedy with Sofia Vergara and Reese Witherspoon. Sofia Vergara is a criminal. Or the wife of a criminal. It's been a while since I've seen it. But, so Reese Witherspoon is sent to go and apprehend her, basically like a bounty hunter kind of thing. And they have all kinds of shenanigans along the way, including at one point being dumped on by a truckload of cocaine. And I mean, it's just there's lots of lesbian jokes. Like, can you have two women in a scene in a film without there being a lesbian joke? Like, I'm not saying you can't make funny jokes, but like,
it's
give
it's
me a
low hanging
break.
fruit.
It was so cringy, I thought. And I just hated Sofia Guevara so much in the movie. She's terrible. She's so shrill, so annoying. And Reese Witherspoon isn't that great either. It's just a terrible comedy. It's not funny. It was I think, my worst film of 2015. It's bad.
I avoided this like the plague. I saw clips of it later, and what I did see of it, I said to myself, "Thank God Sofia Vergara is actually good in the movie Chef from 2014 with Jon Favreau in it.
Yeah.
At least she's good in that." And My other thought was, thank God she's got a steady paycheck with Modern Family, because if she was just doing this, I don't know.
Yeah, it was bad. Writing bad, acting bad. I mean, everything. It's just a bad movie. Don't
Reese
watch it.
Witherspoon, God bless her soul, was trying to do a Jeff Bridges impression and completely whiffed it.
Yeah. So there we go. That is my worst. Let us know what your best and worst are of Reese Witherspoon. We'd love to hear in the comments section or on Twitter. Please check that out and make sure you check out our longer episode of Hidden Gems podcast. We'd love to have your thoughts over there as well. And please follow me on Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. And Ryan, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Then there's, of course, my YouTube channel, which is just called RyanCam. I hit 160 subscribers. Thank you all to everyone for checking me out. I'm going to be releasing Twilight Zone videos throughout the week, as well as reviews for Space Jam 2 and Roadrunner, a movie about Anthony Bourdain. And then these next couple Sundays I'm very excited for, because this coming Sunday I'll be dropping my first reaction to the Studio Ghibli film Tales from Earthsea, and then the following Sunday I'll be releasing a review for one of my favorite sci-fi films ever, Gattaca. It's a movie that has gone well under the radar, and hopefully I bring it back into the light. So if you haven't checked me out, please do.
Great. Yeah, make sure you're all following that, and make sure you follow also the Hallmarkies podcast. We got a lot of fun stuff going on over there, and check out the Patron and merch store. All the links for that are in the description. We'd sure appreciate it. And thanks everybody. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.